Socialpreneurs is brought to you in part by Positive Talk Radio, KKNW 1150 AM in Seattle. Check them out at www.positivetalkradio.net.
Welcome to Global Socialpreneurs, a one-of-a-kind talk show showcasing expert social entrepreneurs. Learn their stories and their secrets to creating a sustainable impact. Now, here are your hosts, social entrepreneurs Ann SCOTTLIN and SHAMETRIA Gonzalez.
Hi, and welcome back to Global Socialpreneurs. We're so glad you joined us here again today. We are changing up a conversation that used to only be about entrepreneurship and the incentives and motivation behind it to include and highlight social entrepreneurship, which basically means having a for-profit business with the intention of solving a social problem, working towards helping solve a social problem. Today, I'm super excited to have one of my favorite people on. But before that, I just want to let you know that my co-host, SHAMETRIA Gonzalez, the amazing SHAMETRIA, unfortunately won't be with us today. She's fine, but she had to deal with a sudden emergency. And so she sends her love, and she will be here next time. So today I'm talking to Gill Tiney. She's an author, speaker, and a founder of Collaboration Global. She lives in the UK, so we all get to love her accent. Gill helps entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs grow themselves and their business through collaboration. It's such a vital piece of what we're trying to create here, because we always talk about how community helps us as social entrepreneurs not have to always reinvent the wheel, and to find the people who've gone before, and to find there's always someone who knows someone. So Gill's intention is supporting like-hearted people to make the world a better place. And Collaboration Global is a for-profit business that puts a percentage of all profits toward humanitarian causes worldwide. And I'm going to let you tell more about that, because those financial contributions happen before profit instead of after. So this is going to be a great conversation. So please help me welcome Gill Tiney. Hi, Gill.
Hi, thanks for having me on the show, Anne. This is lovely to be here. I'm going to have a great conversation.
I'm so happy to have you here too. It's a wonderful day. We were talking backstage of all the funny and crazy things life throws at us and how it can still be a wonderful day. We have so much to be grateful for, and I'm super grateful for you. I'm super grateful for Collaboration Global, which is, again, a like-hearted, world-minded networking group. But I love it because being a member of that and being in those meetings, it's really about putting others in the group and others' causes worldwide first. And then networking and profit is part of it, but it's secondary. And I've been in plenty of networking groups, as I'm sure you have as well. Networking is networking, but it's somehow different when everyone is committed at a like-hearted level, isn't it?
Honestly, I've been, I own the T-shirt to networking. I've spent my time traveling the world teaching people how to network, from the executives that own the networking organizations all the way down to the members and everyone in between. And there is a huge different mindset, but more importantly, a heart set around what we're creating with Collaboration Global. Networking in the big bad world is about transaction. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this person that I'm meeting today? And how can I utilize who you are and who you know? And it's like an exchange just from the point of view of finance. Where with our exchange and with socialpreneurs, it's more about how can I help you? What can I do? What do you need? It's a different conversation. All of a sudden, it's coming directly from the heart. But as a result of that, it opens up more and more possibility, because people don't have to protect themselves. They don't have to go, oh, this is another business coach and I'm a business coach, and they might steal my IP. They might take my clients from me. So we go, well, hang on a minute, there's enough to go around. If you're coming from a place of abundance, you go, do you know what? We could work together, because you do that bit really well. And I do that bit really well, but neither of us like doing that bit over there. So let's see what we could do together. So in a lot of networking organizations, they're still out there, but they are changing slowly. They lock out their so-called competition. And I'm like, wow, that's taking away all those opportunities and all those possibilities away, because there's only one accountant and there's only one marketing guy, and you're missing out on so much. And let's just get real and say that we're all people and we all want to help each other, and then see where that leads. Makes such a difference.
It does make such a difference. And it's really the intention behind the business, which is so much what social entrepreneurship is all about. It's just a different intention. And we talk about that here on the show, where the cart can come before the horse or the cart can come after the horse. But the idea is you have a cause, you have something you're really passionate about, particularly either humanitarian or environmental. And then you have a business. Now, some people, one of my recent guests, found his cause and didn't have the business and literally created a business in order to finance his cause. So this is a really interesting one way around to do it. Often the more traditional way around is there's a business that decides it wants to make an impact in a particular cause. And they do that with profits. And then sometimes there's literally a business, and this is where I want to help educate our peers and even the next generation. When you sit down and say, I want to start a business, I want to start a company, I'm going to have a startup. And it's not just going to be an entrepreneurship, it's going to be a social entrepreneurship. So while I'm laying out my business plan here, we're going to say, what am I passionate about that I want to support and that profits go towards specifically? Or one last parenthetical plug here, how can I help unemployment among young adults in my community with starting a business where I can help provide jobs, virtual jobs, on-site jobs, to help create jobs and create profits to help educate kids in, trades, even if they never went to college, so that they can get jobs. These are the kind of people that we get to talk to all the time. And I just always feel so privileged to talk to people like you and others about just literally all of my guests. You blow me away, because I get so excited and humbled when I see other people who care the same way I do.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's amazing. And they're out there and it's growing. And there's more and more people have that mindset and that heart set. And I think we have to acknowledge, this is my philosophy, that the small, medium enterprise, the small businesses, the startups, they are the backbone of our economy. And if they are growing in order to support other people, you know what? Waiting for a handout, waiting for a grant, waiting for funding, we won't need it anymore, because we have all these amazing people that are going, right, I'm specifically helping these people over here, and I'm specifically helping these people over here. And some people have wide causes and some people have really specific causes, but more and more people are doing it with the help of you. People like you, Anne, it just fills my heart with joy, because that's the only way we're going to make a huge impact on the world. Eventually the government are going to be like, oh, well, we don't need to actually fund cleaning the roads, because that company over there has got it all sorted. They help pay people to go and clean the roads, and their little area, their district is great, so we're going to take that model and we're going to do it. It's like, we need to teach everyone a better way of being. Rather than us focusing on, capitalism has gone a bit broken, in my opinion. Rather than focusing on success of a company is how much money you make, you take home, what your profit is, what your bonus was. It's now, how many people have you helped? What big an impact have you made? And yes, we all get enough. That's part of it. It's got to be sustainable. This is what you talk about. It's got to be sustainable. You've got to be making a profit, but that's not necessarily to go into your pocket all the time. It can then do so much more. And that's my dream for Collaboration Global, is that we are a small membership community. So the membership fees are coming in. And it's like, well, give us this much to run the company, and then anything else that's left over, wow, you could come to me and say, I'm working with this charity and I can't do any more pro bono work, and we need X amount for me to do this. And I'll say, there you go, have some of our money. It's like share and share alike. And it's a much easier way of seeing the world. It's simple. And I think I've put in one of my descriptions that I'm an optimist, and people accuse me of being an optimist. Like, oh, Jill, you're so naive. The world doesn't work like that. And I'm like, why not? Why can't it work like that? It can. And it just takes a few people to start the ball rolling. And this is what you've realized. There are lots of people out there, and we are getting that ball rolling. And pretty soon it's going to be this massive snowball that's going to be, you can't stop it. It's going to be amazing.
Well, and it's so true. I love what you said about optimism, because I'm usually the scapegoat optimist as well, even in my house, which is always fun. But anyway, I'm always like, you know what? But listen to me for just a moment.
Yeah.
50 years, 100 years, 300 years, 1,000 years ago, because I'm a historian too. I can't help myself.
Love it.
What people could only have dreamed of is what our life is today. We don't realize the optimists were right. It might not be that what developed was exactly what they perhaps wished for, but the idea that people could have longer lives, that we had medical care, that we could communicate with others around the world without having to wait months or years for a letter, that we could have clean water and safe food. And we're working to make sure that happens in all parts of the world. But those optimists that everyone made fun of back then, we're living the dream now. And we have enough of us that are living in fortunate circumstances that we can help push those principles out and bring the rest of the world up to the same standards. So I am always defending optimism, but there's something else you said that I just want to touch on real quick, which was, even setting examples for governments. Social entrepreneurship has such a unique opportunity, as you said, to re-educate the way we do things, even up to the government level. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone I met in your group, Lady Tulu Eladon, and she was talking. She's there in the UK, of course, as well. And she was talking about, she's from Nigeria and working to solve some serious critical education problems there. And she has a fantastic method and plan that she's getting ready, that she's already started, and she's going to be implementing more in coming months. And we were talking about how, if this can be demonstrated to the government may say, this is going to work so much better than the idea we had, because their idea is really just putting students' families in debt. So what if you could demonstrate to them a better way? And we were talking about the fact that while nonprofits obviously have their role and do tremendous good in the world, for-profits really attract the attention of governments as well. Because not only is it for profit, it's creating jobs and solving a problem, but it creates sustainable systems, first at the micro level and then at the macro level, to create change. And because of that, more and more governments are giving grants to social entrepreneurs, for-profit businesses, to help stimulate their economy and solve problems, where in the past they just pretty much were giving to nonprofits to, solve a problem, give away things, have people come and receive without contributing. And social entrepreneurship, it invites everyone at every level of the process to participate and have value added. And even as a recipient, you don't have to receive that as a handout. You can receive it as part of a larger system where you even feel good about giving back to your peers and other people like you who are in need. So it's just amazing. And I just love what you said about that. I had a question for you, though, because one of the things we touched on in the introduction was the fact that as a for-profit business, your donations to the humanitarian causes come before profits. What did you mean by that? And can you tell us more?
So this started for me when I saw the fabulous TED Talk by Ricardo Semler. And he's an entrepreneur in Brazil, and he talks about the wonderful schools that he's created. I mean, he's got various businesses, and 30 years ago, he was giving his employees opportunities to work from home. Radical. Hadn't even been a pandemic then. He was giving his employees opportunities to choose when they had their holiday and choose how much holiday they take. Also to choose how much money they get paid, because he was open source. He told everybody what the bank books, the books stated, who was earning what, and you got to choose where you fitted in and how many people were having this much. So he had radical ways of looking at things, and he took that idealism into schools, and he created a school. And he couldn't give the school concept away. And he'd proved it again and again. And the pupils that were coming out of his schools, and he had half a dozen, were getting really great grades. They were going into universities. They were getting great jobs. And it wasn't the school as we would know it. There's a curriculum. You do this, you do this, you do this. And you'll sit there like, oh, I'm bored. I don't want to do this. It was child-led, a bit along the Montessori lines, but from a different perspective of you will learn maths, but you won't even realize you're learning maths because you're doing something that you love. So it's child-led.
Oh, can I do that with math?
Yeah. Me too. That's what I was like, oh, wow. So he realized, going back to what you were saying about governments and giving grants away and everything, is that he tried to give the idea of these schools away and nobody wanted it. He said for years he tried. He said, and then he put a price on it and people started buying this product of a school and how to do it. So now his schools are all over the place. It's the mindset that needs to change. And I think when people are doing things for not-for-profit, there is a mindset of, oh, poor us, poor me. Can you give us some money? Give me a handout. Give me a donation. I need some help. Where if it's for profit, it's like, right, let's get strategic here. Let's think about this. So at the end of his talk, Ricardo says, one of his friends came to him, multimillionaire, and said, Ricardo, I've done well with my life. It is time for me to give back. And Ricardo looks him in the eyes and says, if you're giving back, you took too much in the first place. And I was like, wow. So from day one, when we had zero, we made the agreement that using B1G1, which is the charity that we work with, every time we get a new member, no matter what other outgoings are going on, every time we get a new member, a percentage of that will go to B1G1. They possibly get to choose how it's impacted through B1G1 because they support thousands of charities around the world. But we do that. And then we have to work out, we have to be strategic, we have to be entrepreneurial, we have to get our systems and our processes right so that we can make sure we can pay for everything else after that's happened. So we are giving as we go. And the idea is still that the universe is out there, it's feeling our karma, we're doing the best we possibly can. Every time we get extra, any bit of income, that percentage goes automatically to B1G1 so that we can say that, you know, everybody, wherever they start, if they're a startup or whatever, if you start with that mindset, that's this space of abundance. That's this feeling of like, I have enough. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. The world is fine by me. How could I not give as I go? All of us can give something along the way. So rather than go, oh, I've just earned my first million, I might give, you know, £50,000 away. No, start giving when you've got your first £10 and give a percentage of that away. And it's the same with your saving, the same mindset. If you're fresh out of school or university and you get your very first job, that pay packet, that very first wage that you get is huge. To put 10% of it away, by the time you're 50, you will be a millionaire. Compound interest. That's a very important lesson to learn. So it's understanding to work smart and be clever and have a mindset that growth, the mindset is growth, the mindset is abundance. I'll give you another quick example of that. There's a lady called Emily Penn who tells a story. She is passionate about the ocean and about cleaning up the ocean. She travels the world. She qualified as an architect and she kind of went off piste, much to her mum and dad's disappointment. She's an amazing woman. Look her up, Emily Penn, Penn. And she tells a story of how she was working with some scientists in, I believe, some islands off of the Philippines, and the tsunami came. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of when it was a few years ago. And she said, we were in the island and the alarm sounded because tsunamis were not unknown in that part of the world. And everyone got in their cars and rushed to the other side of the island, and it didn't totally decimate that side of the island. But when they came back, everything was kind of flattened. It was awful. And she said it was like that for 9 months. We had no water. We had no shelter. There were little tents. The Red Cross gave us some basic supplies at the beginning, but we had to prove that we needed the funding in order to get the funding from the Red Cross and the other, you know, United Nations and all those kind of funding agencies. After 9 months, she'd done her bit of work, she'd done her research. So she went on to another island, literally 20-minute boat ride away. Not that far. And their island was pristine and amazing and beautiful. She went, wow, you didn't get the tsunami then? I can't believe you didn't get affected. And they went, oh, yeah, we did. Well, how comes everything's fine? She said, well, we didn't want to wait. We just got on with it. Now, they might not have had enough money, but they did the best they could. So everything was functioning. They built it before there were all these funds available, 3, 4, 500, 600 years ago, there'd been people on that island. So they just got together, collaborated, helped each other. They were a community. They supported each other. If you didn't have enough, somebody else would give it to you. If you had too much, you would share it with someone. And that's what I think is missing in a lot of the Western world today. We've forgotten who our neighbours are. We've forgotten to knock on someone's door and say, "Are you okay?" We've forgotten how to ring a friend and go, "I haven't heard from you for ages. Is everything okay?" Even people that we care about and we think we are friends with, if you look back and you go, "Oh, I've not spoken to them for 6 months. Wow, how did that happen?" Technology and the way we are working, we are so busy, we're forgetting to be good human beings.
It's so true. And I love what you said, that illustration, which is just so apropos about the tsunami and the island that took charge. Again, with the incredible and unspeakable amounts of good that the nonprofit sector has done over the last century, we have begun to have a bit of a mindset around waiting for the handout. We're always, after even a hurricane here in the US or anywhere else, we're waiting for the government, we're waiting for aid organizations. And what we have the opportunity to do as people who think as social entrepreneurs, who are social entrepreneurs, or even if you aren't one and you're listening or watching, is looking for new ways to do things. And to me, that is so exciting because you know how people say, even as an entrepreneur, you have to jump through, 100 hoops is my normal illustration in order to be successful. And there's not even enough hours in a day for the rest of your life to jump through all 100 hoops. So guess what? We get to innovate. We get to be creative. We get to think outside the box. And in that, we're going to create a new phrase. So I never have to say, think outside the box again, because I'm so over it.
We're going to blow up the box.
Somebody needs to blow up the box. Really find ways to be innovative and creative. This is the foundation of what social entrepreneurship is and what entrepreneurship was and still is. But this is there's a different level of motivation when you're not just doing it for yourself.
Yes.
I've seen social entrepreneurs, had they been just in entrepreneurship, they would have closed their doors because the quarterly returns weren't what they expected. It wasn't what they needed to be. A couple years in, they're like, bag it, forget it. But because they were a social entrepreneurship and people were already depending on them, they were already giving before the profit came, they had already committed, they're like, oh, I can't stop this business. And they've gone on to have incredible businesses. Also because as a social entrepreneur, the very principle of it, as my co-host SHAMETRIA always says, the word social means you're not doing it alone. Other people are involved at the grassroots level. And I don't care whether that's in your town or whether that's global and virtual, but that is what a place like you've created, an organization like you've created, which Collaboration Global is, which is nobody has to do it alone. Everybody knows somebody. Everyone can contribute something. People can find, individuals who can contribute to you and others who have a need for what you're doing. So when you become integrally necessary to society, to your town, or to the world, it's a lot more selfish to just close your doors. That said, last point about that, because I do want to make this always. The other thing I fully support about social entrepreneurs, about for-profit businesses that are working to solve humanitarian and environmental problems, is the fact that we all have a right to a living wage and to have a decent, safe, healthy, and joyful life. I don't need to have a 100-foot yacht. I don't need my own helicopter. I don't need my own plane. Sure. However, I know the vacations I like. I like to have someone clean my house. Now I'm employing someone who needs it, and that's great. It's one of the things that I hate and that I suck at. And so it's just like, I'll do almost anything else, so I want to, but I need to be bringing in the income in order to help that person, to create jobs, to empower those people. Right. So the point is, to lead by example instead of handouts to everyone is to show everyone how there's enough to go around and how everyone can live profitably and comfortably in their local environment. They can have the basic elements of safety, of nutrition, of clean water, of income to clothe their family, to send their kids to school. These are human rights, and these are things that can benefit, that any social entrepreneur can help support, because we're leading by example. I make a profit doing this because I want to show other people anywhere in the world that they can make a profit doing their version of this. And I think that's the big difference. It's really giving power back into the hands of everyone in need, no matter where they are. And as I said, and I won't repeat it because I've said it on the show so many times, you can even wash clothes in the river and be a social entrepreneur.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about being a socialpreneur is you're not creating a business to sell it, to make a profit, to go on that yacht or that in that helicopter. It lives beyond you. So you're hoping that it's robust enough and sound enough that when you're not around, or you've chosen to stop, which, you know, is a possibility, or you're just not around anymore, it's going to live on. It's almost like a legacy that you're leaving. And that way, you know, you're going to help more and more people. And it was the reason you were here. So when you have a bad day, and we all have bad days, when you just get out of bed or can't get out of bed and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. You stop and pause for a minute. And I always say to myself, so go on, Jill, what else are you going to do? If you're not doing this, what else would you prefer to do? And I'm like, there's nothing. There's nothing else I would want to do from what I am doing at the moment to help as many people as I can to be as successful as they are, in order to support. So everyone in our community has got a purpose, has got that drive in them to help as many people as they can. So we want to maximize that and get it out there. And I think the way there is this tide turning since the pandemic, possibly, that people are now seeing that you can't just think about number one. You have to think about those around you. And to leave a legacy is saying that I was here for a reason. And I came and I saw the need and I did something about it, rather than just look and go, oh, that's not for me. Actually rolled your sleeves up and got on with it. And I think that's so important. It's that legacy that we can leave.
I love that. And I love that you brought up legacy because actually I love to articulate the differences within legacy. Legacy is legacy, no complaints. So for some people, they want to leave their name on a building to show that they made a donation, left a legacy. That's amazing. And it's, you know, that school maybe has a trust that allows it to continue in a way that it wouldn't, or give scholarships. That's beautiful. But you don't have to have your name on a building to leave a legacy, because you can leave with the principles of social entrepreneurship. You can leave an exponential legacy. It's not just serving one school and one building. It's not just teaching a man how to fish. It's revolutionizing the fishing industry.
Yes.
When you have exponentially led by example, helped others, empowered others to do the same, empowered others to live by example and teach others, it's just a growing. And this is where I see this opportunity as such a global opportunity to really change how we think. And by changing how we think, we're going to change our quality of life and our ability to help others, which is, you know, really our greatest objective. I love that. Any last words or thoughts you have for our socialpreneurs watching today, or people who maybe haven't started their for-profit enterprise yet in order to solve a social problem? What would you say is one of the things you can give them to either encourage them or a bit of business advice?
Well, I think you'll never have as much fun doing it for somebody else. You do it for yourself. Don't get caught up in the corporate rush and get bogged down by the fear, scarcity, and competition of you need to earn some money. Go into a social enterprise and have fun. And the way you do that is you surround yourself with other people who are as passionate as you are about your project and about your business. They don't have to necessarily be your employees. They can be freelance people. They could be contractors. They can be the people you serve. They can be the people that you look up to, who are your mentors or your coaches. But get people who get you. who understand what you're about and what you're passionate about. Because if anybody demeans what you're trying to achieve, they're the wrong person for you. You need somebody that will challenge you for sure, but are not going to pull you down. They challenge you to lift you up. And that's where collaboration comes in. You can have 2 or 3 businesses that do similar things. And so long as you're on the same mission, you can create amazing possibilities, and more people will find out about you, and you will generate more and more income to do more and more good. And that's why you get out of bed in the morning. So find the right people, surround yourself with the right people, and have fun every day.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's such a good principle and a good point. And in business, connecting to the right people is everything. You know, I even say balance out in your professional life the influence that even your family, sometimes your close friends, have on you. Having also been an actress and called crazy for a million times because that's a ridiculous industry and you'll never make it, and a million other things that anyone could possibly just say to discourage me, all the way to being a social entrepreneur where they're like, well, why would you want to give money? Like, what does that, why don't you just do it the normal way? It's like, okay, listen, I appreciate that, but I don't depend on those people's opinion of me. Now, it doesn't mean I have to get rid of my family. There might be a friend or 2 in the past that I've slowly wandered away from because of the negativity. It just wasn't worth it. It was always give from one end and not receiving any support from the other side. You can balance out the real people in your life who may like to help you by criticizing you by finding other supportive people here in Global Socialpreneurs and other organizations like Collaboration Global, or working in my mastermind or my Socialpreneur forum, to just be around those people who share that heartfelt intention with you and really, truly, from their soles of their feet, want you to succeed and will do anything to help you. That's what you need to do. And doing it alone is the old way of entrepreneurship. Collaborating is the new way. And that's what I love about Collaboration Global and you, Gill. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
I love you too, Anne. I think it's just what you're doing and what you're out to achieve just blows my mind. I absolutely love it. And I do think it's the future. If you cast your mind 20 years hence, in 20 years time, we're going to be looking and going, well, everyone's doing it now. And this is kind of we've got an awful lot of people out there and we're just bringing them together. And we're going to see massive change. And as you say, there will be exponential growth, and it will all be to help those people that can't help themselves, which would be wonderful.
I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you all to all our viewers today for tuning in to Global Socialpreneurs. We stream live on Wednesdays that's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Let me see. Can I get this right? 5 p.m. BST for my British friends.
I think it was 4. I think it was 4 o'clock.
4. Okay, 4. So yes, 12 Eastern is okay. So, but yes, you can watch us here on our streaming network, USA Global TV. You can go to the website, Collaboration Global's website, which you'll see their URL in the notes. And if you want to hang out with other social entrepreneurs, we have a new forum starting in September for socialpreneurs who want to just get motivated, find the vibe, wherever you are on that path and you need some encouragement. Keep your eyes peeled. You can also check out the website, globalsocialpreneurs.com or annscotland.com. Thank you so much. And as you go forward in your day, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.